The road trip. You know the feeling, right? 3 friends, 1 car, and that wide open road ahead. It's like the perfect recipe for an amazing adventure, a chance to get away from it all and make some memories you'll talk about forever. But this is the story of a trip that was memorable for all the wrong reasons. Because, you see, sometimes that thirst for excitement, that need to take the road less traveled, well, it can lead you somewhere you were never, ever supposed to go. A place that's dark and ancient and waiting. So let's start at the very beginning. This story is all about 3 friends, Nishant, Aditya, and Ayush. They're from Ahmedabad, and they were just desperate for a little getaway. The plan was super simple, a quick 3-day trip to the beautiful region of Kutch in Gujarat. You know, a totally straightforward, fun trip. What could possibly go wrong?
Let's get to know our crew a bit better. So you've got Nishant and Aditya, who were cousins, and their buddy, Ayush, was the one doing the driving. These guys were young, just in their early 20s, full of that kind of restless energy that makes you feel like you can do anything. All they wanted was to escape the boredom and make this trip something unforgettable. And oh boy, it was. So after a couple of awesome days exploring Kutch and hanging out with family, their trip was starting to wind down. They were at a roadside restaurant, a dhaba, trying to figure out what to do with their last day. And right there, a totally random conversation changed everything and pointed them straight down a path toward absolute terror. A young server at the dhaba, couldn't have been more than 17 or 18, heard them talking. He came over and gave them this little piece of advice. He told them about this raw, unpaved road that could take them to their next stop, Bhuj. He made it sound incredible, like a real jungle safari, a true adventure. But he also threw in a little warning that it wasn't exactly safe. And boom, that was the choice right in front of them. You've got the main highway, safe, predictable, let's be honest, kind of boring. And on the other hand, you have this mysterious dirt path, promising a forbidden adventure, a real adrenaline rush. Now, Ayush, the driver, he was a bit nervous, worried about the car getting stuck or something, but Nishant and Aditya, they were completely hooked on the idea of a secret midnight jungle drive. So, they made their choice. They waited until their family was sound asleep, and at 1:30 in the morning, they crept out of the house. They quietly started the car and just drove off into the darkness, heading for a road they knew nothing about, running purely on the thrill of it all. The second they drove into that forest, though, the excitement just evaporated. The darkness was on another level, so thick you couldn't see a single star, not even a sliver of moonlight. They pretty quickly decided this adventure was a bust and agreed to just take the first exit they could find. The only problem was, there weren't any exits. So they just kept driving, desperately looking for a way out. The only thing they could even see in that suffocating blackness was a single, absolutely enormous, ancient-looking tree. It just stood there, this silent giant watching them in the dark. They'd take a turn, drive for what felt like forever, only to end up right back where they started, staring at that same massive tree. At first, it was confusing. Then it got a little weird. And pretty soon, that unease started to twist into real, genuine fear. What on earth was going on? Over the next hour, this kept happening again and again and again. We're not talking 2 or 3 times. We're talking 25 to 30 times. They ended up right back at that same tree. They were stuck, trapped in some kind of impossible loop. And as they drove in circles, another, much more real-world terror hit them. The fuel needle was dropping fast. Totally desperate now, they said a prayer and just took one more turn. A different, much narrower path this time. And it worked! They broke the loop. Up ahead, they could see the shapes of houses, a village. A wave of relief just washed over them. But as they got closer, that relief just vanished and was replaced by this deep, chilling feeling that something was very, very wrong. This village was just structures, skeletons of houses. And the weirdest part? None of them had doors. There were no lights, no sounds, no people, nothing. It was a ghost town, but it felt way more sinister than that. I mean, why would anyone build a village and just not put doors on the houses? And that's when Aditya saw her. A single person, walking by the side of the road. It was a woman, and she was dressed in the full, fancy outfit of a bride, but what she was doing made absolutely no sense.
She was carrying a huge bundle of firewood on her head. A bride in a deserted, doorless village doing manual labor in the middle of the night? It was just wrong. They stopped the car, just hoping to get some directions. As the woman got closer, she dropped the firewood with this heavy thud. She walked straight up to the car window and just stared at them. Her eyes were large, hazel, and absolutely terrifying. Then she spoke. Her voice was low with zero emotion. "Quietly leave this place." When they asked again for directions, she just repeated herself, her stare getting even more intense. In that single moment, Ayush felt this primal, gut-wrenching fear. He wasn't about to wait for a third warning. He slammed the button to roll up all the windows. And that's when all hell broke loose. The second that glass sealed them inside, the woman struck the driver's side window with her bare hand. The sound was like a bomb going off. The force was so powerful, it shook the entire car, and the reinforced glass didn't just crack, it exploded into a million tiny pieces. Ayush stomped on the gas, peeling out onto that dirt road as fast as he could. But when they dared to look in the rearview mirror, their blood just turned to ice. The woman was running after them. And not just running, she was keeping pace with the car as it tore through the forest. This was no woman. This was something else entirely. In a moment of just pure, unfiltered panic, they turned to faith. They cramped the car's sound system and blasted the Hanuman Chalisa, a powerful Hindu hymn said to protect against evil, at full volume. They rolled down every single window, letting that sacred chant flood the dark forest. And they just drove, swearing to each other they would not look back. And as the hymn played, something changed. The thing that had been right on their tail started to fall back. By the time the hymn was only halfway through, she was gone. Just gone. A few minutes later, they burst through the trees and found themselves on a paved road. They had made it to Bhuj. They were shaking, completely traumatized, and they pulled into the very first place with lights they saw, a little 24-hour tea stall on the highway. It was like a beacon of normal life after the nightmare they'd just been through. They just sat there, trying to get their heads around what just happened. The friendly guy who owned the tea stall saw how terrified they were and asked what was wrong, and they just spilled the entire insane story. The man's face turned completely serious. He told them they were blessed by God to have made it out alive. He said that road, it has a reputation. People who take it at night often get into fatal accidents, and no one who travels that path, he said, ever remains normal. That night left a mark, a scar that would never fully heal. The incredible adventure they were so desperate to find turned into a living nightmare they could never, ever forget. To this day, the memory of that chase, of those horrifying hazel eyes, is burned into their minds, and they made a promise. They would never travel at night again. Ever. Their story is just a chilling reminder that, hey, maybe some legends are there for a reason, and some warnings should probably be listened to. It really makes you think, doesn't it? When you're chasing a thrill, how far is too far? Would you have taken that road?